our guy, Zachary David Stevens. What's going on, my guy?
Fellas, you cannot slight the Broncos. Their 44 points is the most scored in the Sean Payton era. And I'll say this is the best we've seen the Broncos play in the Sean Payton era, and also the swaggiest that we've seen them both on the field and off the field. And I'm here to bring you that perspective. So Broncos score 44 points. They hold the Dallas Cowboys, win the starting defense against the Cowboys starting offense was on the field. They hold them to 17 points. The Cowboys are coming in here as the best offense in the NFL, averaging 32 points a game. So not only does the offense drop 44 on them, the defense hold them to nearly half of what they are used to scoring, and they did it with swag. How about Quinn Meinerz on the 40-yard touchdown run for R.J. Harvey? Not just slamming one Cowboy on the ground, not just slamming two Cowboys on the ground, but then throwing a third away as well. He was a monster. And Quinn, after the game, was asked about R.J. Harvey because he had not one, not two, but three touchdowns on the day. The first Broncos rookie to have three touchdowns in over 2 decades.
Who was
the
last?
Broncos, I believe it was Clinton Portis to do it last. So pretty darn good company for R.J. Harvey there. And Quinn was asked, well, what strides have you seen R.J. Harvey take? And he said, the biggest stride I've seen him take is his celebrations, because after his first touchdown, he just stood there. And I was like, what are you doing? You got to celebrate. So what's he do after his third touchdown? He jumps into the stands. We see Pat Bryant after his first touchdown hit the Broncos with the mile-high salute. The swag was on the field with their play, with their actions. And then let me tell you this, guys. Sean Payton was the swaggiest I've ever seen him with the Broncos after the game. You guys thought Sean Payton's been confident before? He was extra confident after this win today, taking shots at the Cowboys, pumping his guys up from every single level, from the rookies to ownership. It was awesome. So let me tell you about that. First, Sean Payton gave a game ball to Rob and Kerry Walton. You're thinking, what? The ownership after this one? What did they do? According to Sean, they won the Battle of Arkansas between the Broncos ownership and Jerry Jones. I love that. That's just swag right there. So gave it to ownership after this win. And then he was taking some swings at the Cowboys while also pumping up the Broncos. He said he was asked about the Cowboys offense or defense being one of the worst coming in. And he said, our job on offense was to keep them the worst in the NFL. He said that it was awesome to have the Cowboys' elite offense go up against the Broncos' elite defense. And he said, quote, we won. He said it wasn't even close. He said this was a one-sided game. This is not stuff you hear from head coaches typically, and especially Sean Payton. Guys, typically after a big win, I'm coming in here telling you about how the locker room was hyped about the win, but that Sean Payton was kind of pressing it down to keep his team focused. Not after this one, because he just did what he thinks is an incredibly difficult task with what the Broncos have done in the past month of not just winning 5 straight games, but doing it in really difficult fashion. Look, you have the Bengals on Monday Night Football, short week, then you travel to Philadelphia and London, then you come back from Philadelphia to play the Giants. He said last week or 2 weeks ago was very difficult. Then last week, coming off a very emotionally draining win, he was able to keep the Broncos focused going into this week. He said teams are typically like 2-17 when coming off 15 or more point comebacks in the final 5 minutes of a fourth quarter. So credit to Sean Payton. I know you guys were dishing out some helmet stickers. Sean Payton gets a visor sticker for this one for sure, because he was able to keep the team focused, and not just focused, but they were in absolute demolition mode. And so the Broncos did all of this with some hard circumstances over the past month. And they're the hottest team in the NFL right now. 5 straight wins, 6-2, sole possession of first place. And man, we saw maybe the best complete game from the Broncos all the way around. It was incredibly impressive. Now, I'll let you guys ask some questions if you have some.
Zach, man, great job as always. Great to see you, bro. Curious to see what Sean said and what was working offensively. Obviously, Cowboys defense not that great, but what was working offensively for him? Calling the plays, Bo, they seemed in unison. What do you say there?
Yeah, everything was working, Benny, and Sean was very proud of the way that the guy showed up from the get-go. Just on Friday, Benny, Sean said we have to start faster. We have to play better in the first half, and that's exactly what this Broncos team did after the first drive. Obviously, Bo Nix must have had a miscommunication. We didn't get clarification on that from Bo today, but he must have had a miscommunication with Pat Bryant. But then after that, guys, until Bo was pulled, the Broncos had 6 touchdowns in their next 8 possessions. They had a field goal in there. They only had 1 punt in 8 straight possessions. Absolutely exactly what the doctor ordered. They could now move on from all the issues that they've had in the past and just continue this moving forward. And he said it was execution. And Riley Moss, after the game, said this was the best week of practice that he has ever had since being a Denver Bronco. And you could tell that from the locker room. And so they just felt very prepared coming into it, and they really hit the ground running after that first series, which was so important. And I believe it was Cortland Sutton said, I bet our defense was pretty darn happy that they didn't that they got to play with a lead for most of the game. And then Court also said that Sean and Court in the locker room also said that one of the things that Sean did throughout the game was he went and challenged the defense. He said, look, can you guys keep up with us? Because we're playing damn good. Can you keep up with us? And so he was challenging the Broncos defense, kind of turning it into a competition between the two sides because the Cowboys weren't giving them competition. So that was just another fiery swagger passion thing that Sean brought to this.
Yeah, Zach, first and foremost, nothing says swag to me like which old billionaire has the better football team. Second of all, I do have to ask you, was there any update on Pat Surtain?
Yeah, unfortunately, 2 updates on the injury front. One that just came out after the game, and I'll start with that one. Marvin Mims, guys, is in the concussion protocol. So don't know exactly when it happened, but obviously, I mean, he had some killer returns today. He was key part of the offense. Anytime he touches the ball, it seems like it could go to the house, whether it's in the punt return, kick return, or on offense. And I love the way that Sean got him involved. So that's a concern. Broncos do have a full week before they play their next game against Houston. So we'll continue to track that, but he is in the concussion protocol. And then with Pat Surtain, obviously a really tough game for him physically. Gets that knee injury or lower leg injury in the first quarter, comes back, then does not play a single snap in the second half. I did not see him on the sideline, guys. It's a shoulder injury. And from what I'm being told, he is expected to miss a couple of weeks. The number that I specifically heard was 2 weeks. And so we'll just see. The Broncos obviously have 4 more games before the bye. He's the best player on your team, and it's not even close. He's the best defensive player in the NFL, so this is a big blow. Saying that, was really proud of the way that the rest of the secondary stepped up when Pat went out. I mean, Riley Moss, they just continue to throw flags on him, and he said he was blessed with a short memory, so those don't bother him. And I'll tell you what, man, he just is balling out of his mind. If you just want to look at a stat sheet that shows penalties, then sure, you're not going to like Riley Moss. If you look at the game and watch the way he plays and see how he plays it, see how he bounces back for some BS calls, man, you're going to love the way Riley Moss plays. And I thought, despite, 3 penalties, I think, today, I think he had a hell of a game, especially with the Dallas Cowboys just continuing to pick on him and the refs continuing to throw the flag when a lot of the times I didn't see it there. So Riley stepped up. How about Jahdae Barron? Riley Moss got his first interception wearing the throwback uniforms last year for the Broncos. Jahdae gets his first interception in the NFL wearing the throwbacks. Riley said, there's something about him, man. There's something about him. And I'll tell you what, the Broncos look great in their throwbacks today. And speaking of things that people were wearing, Alex Singleton wearing a Pat Surtain throwback shirt of Pat taking it to the house in the throwbacks last year against the Raiders when that changed their season. He was wearing a Pat Surtain shirt. Riley Moss was wearing a Nick Bonito shirt. When asked about it, Alex Singleton said, I had to rep the best defensive player in the NFL, and I got a Bo Nix one in my closet for the next couple of weeks coming up. And then when Riley was asked about it, he said, he's the GOAT. How can I not rep him? So, I mean, guys, just the swagger is off the charts, and this is starting it from Sean Payton, trickling down. It's already trickled down. I can't imagine how much it's going to trickle down and how much swag the Broncos are going to have going up against the Texans next week. 2 weeks from now, when the Broncos host the Raiders wearing their throwbacks on Thursday Night Football. We're just like 10 days away from that, and then the Chiefs come to town. So to get back to your question about Pat Surtain, Ryan, the Broncos have 3 more games until their bye. I'm told the initial timeline's 2 games that he's going to be out, so maybe he's back for that Chiefs game, which would obviously be huge with the way the Chiefs are looking right now, or maybe you just hold him out and he gets over a month off. So that's just the very initial diagnosis of what I'm hearing.
Zach, man, Pat Bryant played a lot today. Big plays throughout the entire game. What did you hear from him? What did you hear from Sean in terms of personnel? He seemed to be getting a lot of time today.
Yeah, and what a perfect time for all of these young guys to come up, specifically at the receiver position, with Troy Franklin having 2 touchdowns, with Pat Bryant coming up huge with another touchdown, because the trade deadline is in 9 days. And I know we're going to talk about that this week, but just a couple of days ago, we heard some national people say the Broncos are going to be looking for a wide receiver on the market. These rookies and younger guys today made a case that you don't need to go out and look for another one. Maybe they still will. We'll have these conversations throughout the week, but what perfect time for these guys to step up. And it was really cool talking to guys in the locker room after the game and when asking about Pat Bryant specifically, and them saying, look, he has earned everything that he got today. He earned that touchdown because of the way he blocks his ass off, the way he's outstanding as a blocker for a rookie, and Pat Bryant has done it the absolute right way. And then also, it didn't go perfect today. Obviously, a miscommunication. Something was wrong on that first pass to him, which led to the interception. There was another miscommunication that led to an incompletion between him and Bo, but Bo stuck with him. He stuck with Bo. And then what a perfect catch in the back of the end zone. Cortland Sutton just said how impressed he was with that catch, because it doesn't get any better of a throw. It doesn't get any better of a catch. And then he hits him with the mile-high salute. You have RJ Harvey coming through with 3 touchdowns. You have Troy Franklin coming through with 2 touchdowns. J.K. Dobbins, that's his second 100-yard game on the season. And I'm talking about young guys, and J.K. Dobbins is only 26 years old, so we can't really forget about him being a young guy too. So it was awesome to see this offense really come together. And you hope it's not just because the Cowboys have the worst defense in the NFL. I'm sure that helps. But next week, Broncos have a hell of a test with the Broncos offense going up against a really good Houston defense that's clinging for life right now. But the Broncos are the hottest team in the NFL.
Love it, Zach. Appreciate you. We got to get to these super chats, so we're going to let you go. But appreciate your energy as always.
I need a Zach Stevens, RK, and Hank shirt to wear on the shows. We need that. We got that type of culture here.
I absolutely love it. All right, see you, fellas. Enjoy the super chats, and Broncos country. Get ready for a swaggy football team, one that we haven't seen in over a decade.
I thought you were gonna say let's ride, but all right.
All right, there he is. The authority on all things swag, Zachary David Stevens.